placed on the roof, and while the officer was speaking to him, he repeatedly yelled at the officer, swore at the officer, and actually reached for the pocket knife at times. The Superior Court case, Your Honor, CR 06650, the defendant was arraigned on that case in Superior Court on January 9th, 2007. He was arraigned on that case here in District Court on 10/26/06. The event actually took place in that case on September 2nd, 2006, where the defendant is alleged to have shot 3 males and 1 female at Joe Angelo's bar on Crescent Street in Brockton. The defendant fled the scene and actually fled to South Carolina on that case, where he resided at the victim in this case, in the murder case, is home. The victim in the murder case actually turned the defendant into police on a warrant, and he was brought back up here. He was arraigned in Superior Court on that case. His bail at the time was $1 million. The bail on that case in March was reduced to $50,000. He was released. And then this occurred. As to the facts of the murder case, Your Honor. On August 16, 2007, at approximately 1:15 a.m., parents of the defendant were awoken by a loud bang in the home. Home at that time were the parents of the defendant, the defendant's brother, and the mother of the defendant's children, the victim in this case, Carlita Cheney. The father went downstairs to see what the noise was. He found his son, the defendant before you, Amaral Montrond. He was crying and saying it was an accident. It was an accident. The victim was slumped over on a chair, and the victim had been shot in the head. The mother came down. The parents took the firearm, put it in a plastic bag, and hid it in the cabinet. They then called the defendant's sister to the home. Once she arrived, the police were finally called. When the police arrived, Officer Ford of the Brockton Police Department arrived on the scene at approximately 1:37 in the morning. Brockton Fire Department was already there. There were several people standing in the doorway. The officer asked who had been shot and where's the gun. They pointed to the lower level of the home, which is a finished basement. The officer went downstairs to the family room style area and saw a female sitting on the couch with a wound near her left temple and a reddish brown stain on her cheek and the front of her shirt. EMTs at the scene determined that the victim, Carlita Cheney, was dead. The officer turned to the doorway and asked where's the gun and who shot her. At that time, Patricia Montrond stated he shot her, pointing at the defendant, but it was an accident and didn't mean it. They then showed him where the firearm was hidden in the cabinet of the home. The defendant was placed into custody. They attempted to speak to him at the police department, but he would not answer any of their questions. They did speak to the sister of the victim, Kenesha Cheney, who reported that the victim spends every summer with her children up at the defendant's home here in Massachusetts, but she resides in South Carolina. She was actually scheduled to leave tomorrow, August 17th. She told her sister that she felt she had overstayed her welcome at the Amaral's house, that the defendant had repeatedly called her a snitch, and they felt that this was because the defendant had been arrested at the victim's home in South Carolina on the arrest warrant on the shooting case at Superior Court. The sister also stated that on multiple occasions the defendant would physically threaten the victim. So based on these facts, the facts in his other open cases, we do believe the defendant is a danger to the community, that his bail should be revoked on those cases, and that he should be held without bail in the murder case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Due to the state of my case, I'm running to address the court on the issue of bail. Whatever actions the court does take, I would ask the court to do that without prejudice. I have filed motions to preserve the investigative notes in this matter. I hope that all notes are preserved by any investigative detectives, as well as I make oral motions to preserve all physical evidence, 911 tapes. I've also asked for the court to allow a motion for funds to retain a forensic psychologist. I've already been in contact with that forensic psychologist, so we'll be seeing my client this afternoon. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, as to the bail, held without bail, is there any change in circumstances? You know, you move forward. It's committed to Bridgewater, return day, I think it's September. Is it 14th? 4th. The motion for ex parte funds is allowed. Motion for preservation, I'm allowing the first paragraph.
Thank you.
And denying everything.
And as far as my oral motions to preserve all physical evidence,
Yes, you reduce those to
okay.
on the Superior Court case is revoked also, not the district court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I do have another motion. That is in writing. Can I file that now?
Certainly.
Thank you, Your
Would
Honor.
you show it to your sister?